is that a big issue in MMORP? Is like seniority? Because like pretty much like expertise of the rules tends to get you like oh we'll ask Brian the rules because he's played this longer than the rest of us, or he's the one that's suggesting it, or he's the one that's running it.
Right.
But like something like that, like with seniority, like oh I've been playing this game for 5 years, therefore I'm better, or is that a thing?
Oh, an MMORP?
Yeah.
I never thought about that before. Like, I think overall, like the only time like someone throws like seniority in an MMORP scenario is when you have like like for me personally, I won't throw around how long I've been role playing unless I'm dealing with someone that's very inexperienced.
Right.
And I'm trying to explain the etiquettes and the rules, and I'll be like, I'll say like, oh yeah, I've been role playing for 15 years, so if you have any questions, let me know. I can probably answer them and tell you a story about it.
Right.
Other than that, for the most part, like as far as like MMO seniority goes, it's more about how you carry yourself.
Right. Right.
Like
you can show that you deserve this because.
Right. Like I guess like in some of the in some of the RP groups that I've had, like if you want your character to have a particular story, like maybe you have to have been a part of the group for so long.
Right. You can't come in and be the high priestess of of the dark god, leading the worship of the group, because what if you've been role playing for 2 days and just came into the group?
Right. I mean, if you're going into that kind of a mindset, you're going in with the wrong mindset to start with. Like, oh, I've been role playing for 20 years. This character, I've been role playing this character for 10 years. It's nobody can question me on it. Like, that's not really the right attitude to have.
Right. But even in tabletop, you're gonna get people. That's gonna rub people the wrong way. Just acting like that.
Right, like that's not how you make friends, and the whole point is like to make friends, even if they're just temporary friends or short-term friends. The whole point of roleplay is to make friends.
Right.
Entitlement. That's a good word for that. It's never good to be to come in with entitlement. Yeah.
Right.
Like in the Jedi guilds I used to RP in Star Wars Galaxies, I made an alt, and I kind of shortcutted him into becoming a Jedi Master because I retired my first Jedi because I made him a crafter, and I made a new character to be the Jedi character, and I kind of shortcutted him, but I'd been a part of the group for years. And so, like, people knew I knew how to role play a Jedi, a Jedi Master or whatever. So I shortcutted around, training him as a Padawan and getting him his knighthood and all that. We just kind of agreed, no, he'll just rise the ranks, within the set amount of time instead.
You've done it before, so it's reasonable you'll do it again.
Right. Otherwise, it would have taken 6 months to reach Jedi Master. Which then my Old Republic group took a very similar approach to that, where you had to be a Padawan for a set amount of time, then you had to be a knight for a set amount of time, and like I hated the way that they handled that stuff because it was very, very clicky, I guess. Like if someone on the council didn't like you, you weren't going to get progressed.
Right.
They're like, if someone had a grudge against you, like they did against me, like you're gonna get basically just your life was gonna be made miserable.
Right, you're gonna be sidelined a lot. Yeah.
And they all would like have that kind of attitude. So thank you for bringing that up, because that's a very important thing.
Right.
To talk about entitlement
Right.
and
Right. It's kind of interesting because, like, you do. I mean, you can get a little bit of that in tabletop, but again, it tends to be a little bit less because you generally have people who are like very much like um you have people are very much like, oh, I want to do this, but it's like, no, everybody else agrees that no. And even though things aren't necessarily a strict democracy, it's one of those things that, if you want to do X and everybody else says no, well, then you probably don't get to do that.
right. Although in like I would say there is a little bit of a seniority, not like in a strict form, but like in my RP tribe, my Makote tribe. Like if someone wanted a particular storyline, that like if two people wanted to do a particular storyline at a particular time, probably the person that's been with the group longer or contributed to the group more would probably get priority
Right.
over those
Right.
two. But then we would probably take some kind of effort to integrate the other person's story in so that it gets kicked off with the first person's.
Right.
So that they still get involvement, but the focus is probably going to be the most senior person.
Right.
But our group in itself doesn't operate on a hierarchy in character. So it's more about what's more agreeable for the people who want to participate as well. I think that's a fair way. Oh my goodness. I think that's a more fair way to say it. It's just what tends to be more agreeable for the people wanting to participate in said activity. So I think
it can be like a little bit of a touchy thing because you're trying to kind of do the maximum amount of good to the
for the group,
and that's always sometimes hard to measure, and people always kind of value themselves a little higher than everybody else, so.
And that's why it's important to have some kind of structure in the out of character realm. Even if it doesn't breach into in character, we do have a leadership, a rank of leadership to discuss things and make sure everything's running smoothly.
Right.
Even if that's not reflected in character.
Right. Sometimes you're just gonna have people have bad days, and they're gonna have conflicts. Even if it's not like life or death or serious I hate you conflict. It can still feel a bit like you still need potentially need multiple people to kind of like defuse the situation. Yeah.
Like I'm an officer in the group, but like my character's I would say that my character would probably be one of the most senior huntresses in the group. But like the character herself doesn't hold that over anyone. She's probably the most humble of anyone.
Wow, that must be a real role-playing stretch for you.
I know, it's so hard. But if someone's misbehaving in character, she's probably one of the first people to just grab them by the collar and be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, let's talk about this, shall we?
Yeah, exactly. But she never takes a stance of I'm here and you're there, so you're gonna do what I say.
Right.
It's more of what the fuck do you think you're doing?
Right. Kind of like she steps in when it's really necessary, and like you say, if the group has no hierarchy, you still need people to kind of go in and say, hey, look, you're not contributing to the group as a whole.
Right. Or you're doing something that is deflammatory to the group's efforts.
Detrimental.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking deflammatory too, like if you're like talking shit about.
Oh,
someone.
right.
Um.
You're reflecting poorly on the group. Stop that.
Right. Like I remember in the early days of our group, I guess we'd been around for a couple months. We had one person who was out of character. Like we were all cracking up laughing over their character, but in character, like they were like walking around the quicksand, which is like the place to role play.
Right. Goldshire.
Yeah. And was like talking shit about one of our allied tribes, where I was actually in the FC of that tribe at the time, because originally we weren't an FC or a free company.
Right, a guild, yeah.
And so they were talking shit about this other tribe that, you know, we were very allied to, and right next to their leader.
Oh, of course.
Like,
this went over well.
Talking to my character, talking crap about them, while the leader of the group is in a different RP scene that just happened to be directly next to us.
Right.
And so, like, I started getting messages in free company chat, just like, what the fuck?
Is this person talking shit about us?
Yeah. And like, out of character, I had to smooth it over. I was like, it's fine. It's for a scene. You'll see what happens next.
Right.
And like, my character basically just bitch smacks
Nice.
his character and just like, what the fuck are you doing? I think she called her a fool and this, that, and the other. And it's the only time my character's ever gotten physical with another character.
Right.
When that's not fair, she stabbed a couple of people before, but
Look, I only got into one fist fight, okay?
Exactly. It's the only fist fight.
Yeah, there you go.
Stabbings don't count. That's just running the mill.
That's how Makote say hi to each other.
Yeah, exactly. So like that, it was a good scene, even though it was in characterly like very it was a big deal in character, but out of character everything was fine because we're like cracking up laughing over just how ridiculous this character is being.
Right.
And that's an example of a good scene. Like, regardless of what's happening in character, like somebody could be dying in character, and like a lot of people would think, oh, that's horrible, and you're like, no, it's fine. Like, we're cracking dick jokes the whole time.
Right.
And that's an example of good role play.